PlayStation 3 era of games was renowned for its grey, dark, dreary world. Sort of like a 40-year-old divorced, depressed dad. Which, to be honest, it sums up the PlayStation 3 perfectly. This trend of the PS3 and Xbox 360 generation made games blend together, feel repetitive, and just a slog to explore. But now, you have every game turning that saturation up to 100 and embracing their inner.
Da Vinci?
So, coming back to a game with a colour palette which fully embraced depression itself is actually quite refreshing, making it feel unique in this era of games that feel the need to have a leprechaun taking multicoloured shite all over the world. So enough about leprechauns, shite and depressed dads. So what is InFAMOUS? Well, it's an open world action adventure game that has you playing as Cole, who finds himself at the centre of a small explosion, you know, no biggie. You wake up after the explosion and, to put it lightly, everything around you is, well, absolutely fucked. Buildings are destroyed, people are dying, and worst of all, you're bald. However, in all this chaos, Cole finds himself with electric superpowers, which, I've got to say, isn't really a bad trade-off for having your entire city nuked. Like, I wouldn't be complaining. The explosion pretty much decimates the entire city, leading to chaos and the formation of gangs, which, all I've got to say is they all have a very big, bald man discrimination problem. Because everywhere I go, they start fucking shooting the living shite out of me.
I started blasting. Bang! Bang! Well, I don't see so good, so I missed. Then they ran away. I ran after them.
Okay.
Bang! Try to shoot him in the back.
But apart from getting shot at for being bald, the FBI slides up in your DMs and then they want you to do shit for them to help stabilize the city, and that's pretty much the, you know, the basic gist of the story. It gets into some freaky and cool ass shit later on, but you know, play the game yourself, you fucking donkey. Before I get more into it, if you're wondering, oh, I don't remember this game looking so shite and running like a cow's arse. Well, it's because I played through PS Now, which, you know, it isn't ideal. My internet isn't exactly cutting edge. I live in Scotland for fuck's sake. I might as well be in the Himalayas. So just keep that in mind, you wank. The game has you running around Empire City, doing missions that have you platforming, killing Canadians. Well, I think they're Canadians. Why else would you wear red? And finally, the game occasionally challenges you morally throughout the story, making you decide whether to be a selfless hero to the people of Empire City, or be a cunt. Both coming with their own unique benefits, like picking the more selfish option will tend to make your life easier, also giving you some really cool unique abilities, exclusive to the pure evil lads. Or you could be a good guy, and people will like you, which is also cool, I guess. This game is great. The gameplay is so much fun. Movement feels so slick even to this day. Parkour dances that fine line of not doing everything for you like 90% of the games. That includes some sort of climbing after Assassin's Creed apparently invented the thing, but also not being too cumbersome that you want to take the train instead. The parkour is engaging and just really satisfying. Also, it wasn't until like 3/4 through the game that I realised I couldn't even fast travel, just because I love traversing through this wannabe Glasgow so much. And then on top of the already good movement, the game progressively gives you more abilities that make traversing much easier and, for lack of a better word, more badass. You can grind on tracks, minted, glide using electricity, don't even know how that works, but it's pretty fucking cool. And even bolting across wires. Oh, and by the way, pun absolutely fucking intended. Right, enough of me wanking off Cole's ability to do anything but drive, which leads me to the combat. I don't know how that leads me to the combat, but shut the fuck up. The combat feels class. You start off with a basic arsenal of shooting shock and punching motherfuckers, which both on their own feel really good, but then on top of that you unlock new combat abilities like electric grenades, precision bolts, chain bolts, electric shields, lightning, because you know nukes are overrated anyways, electric shanking devices if you want to roleplay as a British casual, also a fucking thunder gun, but with your hands. With your hands! And there's more, with some variation depending on if you decide to have good or bad karma, which is just so cool. You will get XP for murder and completing missions, which will allow you to get these abilities as well as generic stat buffs. All of these abilities use up some of your electric cores, which can be recharged by absorbing anything electrical in the area, which can also heal you if you have taken some damage. Again, this is very cool. I like it a lot. With this you can even do cool shit like charge up something electric with your standard shock bolt and then absorb it to charge up your cores. Not sure about the logistics there, but it's cool also. Also, you can kinda do it with dead bodies, but it does seem a little bit fucked up. I will say, however, most combat encounters will have you using your standard shooting attack and not fully utilising everything in the kit due to how versatile and viable the standard attack is. It still is fun to use the standard attack, but it's a shame when everything else is so fun to use. The incredibly high damage enemies can do force you into a more defensive playstyle that kinda completely rules out melee most of the time, which is kinda a shame. It's not till later they give you a shield thing, and yeah, it does make melee better, but still just doesn't get as done as the good old shocking the motherfucker. But with that gripe, the combat still is so fun. I do love the enemies as well, just something about the red Grim Reaper looking outfits that is just so iconic. They definitely look like they're a part of a crack committee though. There's also cool different enemy types all presenting unique situations, constantly mixing up the combat right through the entire game. And some of the later hours, the game gets fucking crazy with the amount of shit they throw at you, and I fucking love that. Also, back to the way I started this video, I absolutely loved coming back to the grim and eerie setting. There's just something so unsettling about the city. It does genuinely feel like a devastated city, and there's always a sense of dread even when you're the superhero. Not many superhero games have you feeling on edge, really just doubling down on that you're just a normal guy with powers. And what makes this even better is there's all this grim shit, and then your mates run like this. I fucking love it. There's something so humorous about this world being full of depressing shit, and then your mate's just running like he's snorted 4 lines of cocaine. It's fucking hilarious. Also, the story's just great. There's only a few main characters, but they're definitely strong enough to capture your interest. But this is such a good story for setting up Cole as a hero. It really is one of the best gaming superhero origin stories that doesn't just stick to your standard formula. And if there's one thing this game gets right, it makes you feel like you're a bald man.